So, hi everyone. So, in our previous presentation, we covered artificial neural networks. So far we have covered three major machine learning algorithms. That is, the first one was decision trees. Then next we covered regression. Lastly, we covered artificial neural networks. So all these three algorithms had their own advantages and disadvantages. So based on the problem you are going to choose, you can decide which machine learning algorithm is suitable. So if there is a classification based problem, then you can solely go for decision trees. So if the data are linearly in relationship with each other, then you can go for regression. So if the given problem is complex enough, it has complex data and complex relationships, then you can go for artificial neural networks. So in this presentation, we are going to learn one more machine learning algorithm. This is an unsupervised machine learning algorithm. So I already explained in my big data basics presentation what is an unsupervised machine learning algorithm. So if you are giving the test data to machine learning algorithm without training your algorithm, then such an algorithm will be called as unsupervised. Your clustering or cluster analysis is an unsupervised machine learning algorithm. So before going into the details of clustering and cluster analysis, first let us understand the definition of clustering. So your clustering is nothing but grouping of things. So you will be grouping certain things based on some similarities. So it is also called as a segmentation technique. Segmentation is nothing but, so if you are dealing with any problem, so in that problem there will be many features, but you won't be interested in many feature. You want only the problem required, the features required for the problem. In such a case, you will segment the features which are necessary. So such technique is also called as clustering because you're segmenting the features which are needed for the problem. So clustering can also be called as a segmentation technique. So given data instances, there will be many data points. So data points which are similar to each other or which are nearer to each other, they will be grouped into one cluster. The data points which are similar to each other or which are nearer to each other, they will be grouped into one cluster. The data points or data instances which are different from each other, they will be grouped to another cluster. So mainly you'll be finding some patterns. You'll be finding some similarities. The data points which are similar, the data points which are same pattern, they will be grouped under one cluster. The other points and other instances will be grouped into another cluster. So as you can see, your clustering is a unsupervised learning technique. There is no output. So you are starting directly from the test data. And also the number of clusters. So given a set of data points, how many number of clusters you need to have, that won't be known in advance. It's not known ahead. So how many clusters you need for the given data points, that is not known in advance. How you can decide those number of clusters? Based on the characteristics of data. So each data set will be having different characteristics. So based on the characteristics of that particular data, you can decide how many number of clusters you need. So the user can specify either a large number of clusters, smaller number of clusters, or any desired number of clusters. Sometimes based upon the business, which business you are going to, in which business you are going to perform clustering, based on the business also, you can decide how many number of clusters you need to have. So the number of clusters is not known beforehand. So it needs to be decided based upon the characteristics of data, or it can be decided based on for which business you are doing clustering. So that's what with respect to clustering analysis. So How many clusters is good for a particular business? So it depends upon the cluster data points. It depends upon the cluster parameters. So these are all the things you need to remember with respect to definition. It is clustering. It is natural grouping of things. The data points which are similar or nearer to each other will be grouped into one cluster. The data points which are far away from each other will be grouped into another cluster. Okay. Then it is an unsupervised learning technique. Your clustering is an unsupervised. You won't be training your clustering technique. And also, how many number of clusters you need, that won't be known beforehand. That will be decided based on the characteristics of data as well as from the business point of view. You are going to decide the number of clusters. So let us move on to the next topic, the applications of cluster analysis. Any machine learning algorithm you are going to use will have applications. Without any applications, what will be the need of that machine learning algorithm? So that's why there will be applications when it comes to every machine learning algorithm. Let us see some of the applications of cluster analysis. So cluster analysis is used in large variety of transactions. In almost in every business, in every field, you can make use of clustering. So you can give labels. So once you are given labels, then it becomes easy for identification. Then it becomes easy for categorization. So some of the examples we can give, we can group customers. Some of the customers may be interested in iPhones. So for them, you can give advertisement only on iPhones. Some of them may be interested on Samsung phones. Some of them might be interested on OnePlus phones. Products. Some of the customers might be interested in Bluetooth headphones. Some may be interested in wired headphones. Based on patients, some of the patients might have brain-related problems. Some of them might have stomach-related problems. So based upon that, in every field, you can make use of clustering. And also, sometimes it can be used to identify outliers. What do you mean by an outlier? Which does not belong to a cluster. Cluster that belong, it is a separate entity. Suppose in this customers, I told some of them are interested in iPhone, some in Samsung, some in so in another phone. One particular customer is interested in a brand which is not known. So that customer can be considered as an outlier who does not belong to a cluster. So your clustering analysis will have a major role in marketing. Market research in clustering analysis major role na play ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. So you can make cluster based on geography also. That means people in India might have different taste. People in US might have different taste. Based on that also you can do clustering. Price sensitivity. People in one geographic area might need products with lower price. In other geographic area, they might need products with higher price. So based on that also, you can perform clustering. So as you can see, market segmentation. You are categorizing the customer according to their similarities, according to their wants, according to their needs. So once you make clusters according to their similarities, wants, and needs, then you can do proper marketing. What product they are interested in, what product a particular cluster is interested in, you can push only those advertisements. Product portfolio. In clothing also, there will be clusters. There will be small shirts, medium shirts, large shirts. There also you can perform clustering. Text mining. Some of them might be interested in suspense-based novels. Some of them might be interested in affection-based novels. So there also you can make use of clustering. So these are the major three areas. There are plenty of areas in almost every field you can employ clustering. The major three areas where you can employ clustering can be market segmentation, product portfolio, and text mining. So far what we covered the definition of clustering. Later on, we covered the business applications of clustering. There were three major business applications. So can we give a technical definition with respect to a cluster? The answer would be yes, there is a technical definition. So what can be the technical definition? Given a representation of n objects. So there are n objects. So given n object, so the definition what we can give is given n objects. So you can find k groups. So there will be n objects. Each object will be allocated to one group. How they will be allocated? Based on similarity. Objects within the group, the objects which are present in one group will be same, alike. Whereas the objects in different groups will be not alike. They will be different. So this is the technical definition you can give. So given a representation of n objects that will be allocated to k groups in such a way, the objects inside one group will be same, alike, whereas the objects in other groups will be different. This can be interpreted in many ways. So when you are grouping the objects, you can group the objects based on three criteria. There will be many criteria. So some of the criteria can be shaped based on the shape, based on size, based on density. You can group the objects. So clusters are nothing but patterns. So objects which are having same pattern, similar patterns will be grouped into one cluster. Whereas objects which are having different patterns will be grouped into another clusters. So data points which are having which are having same interest, which are having same pattern, that will be hanging together. That will come together. So in some points, there are different ways to form a cluster. So the points which are formed on the circumference of a circle, the points which are on the circumference of a circle, that can be grouped into one cluster. So there are many ways in which you can form a cluster. Based upon your business application, based on the characteristics of data, you will form different number of clusters. So what will be an ideal cluster? It is a set of points which is completely compact and isolated. That means all the points are closely together. When all the data points are closely together, that is an ideal cluster. So that ideal cluster is difficult to form in real world applications. So as you can see from this particular diagram, this is a set of data points. So from here, you can form many clusters. So it seems like there are two clusters approximately of two equal sizes. However, they can be seen as three clusters. As you can see, I can form one cluster here. This can be formed as one cluster. This can be formed as one cluster. These 2 points can be formed as one cluster. So, or you can form these points as one cluster, these points as one cluster. So, based upon your business application, you can form different clusters. You can simply draw a line here. If you draw a line here, it will be two clusters. So if you draw a line here, then also it will be two clusters. If you draw one line here, if you draw one line here, so if you draw an arc like this, if you draw one arc like this, there will be three clusters. So based on your business application, you can form different number of clusters. So for what all we saw the general definition of clusters, the business application of clusters, then we saw the technical definition of clusters. So next we shall see how we can represent our clusters. So in order to represent our cluster, we are using a concept called as centroid. Centroid means, so once a cluster is formed, as you can see, if this is a cluster, there will be a central point. So from that central point, all the remaining data points will be equidistant. They will be from the same distance to the centroid. That particular point will be called as centroid. As you can see, the clusters are represented by a central or model value. A cluster can be defined as a centroid of collection of points belonging to it. A centroid is a measure of central tendency. That means if there is a centroid, from that centroid, it is somewhat like weighing. So from that point, all other points will be at equidistance. So it is the point where the sum total of square distance from all the points is the minimum. So if you are performing the square distance, for example, this is x1, this is x2, x1 minus x2 square, this is x3, x3 minus x2 square. In such a way, you need to find the distance. So as we said, there will be a centroid, so there will be plenty of points. So all these points will calculate the distance with respect to centroid. The distance should be minimum enough. So that should be the characteristics of a cluster. So a real life example we can give for that is city center. Your city center can be called a centroid. So all the other areas which are closer to the city center, they can form one particular cluster. That is an example for a centroid. So a cluster can also be represented as most frequently occurring value in the cluster. For example, say you can choose a centroid, the value which is most frequently occurring in the cluster, that can also be chosen as a centroid. So one example, a practical example we can give for a cluster is that all soccer moms, that means the children who are playing soccer, all their moms can be classified under one cluster. So this is how you can represent a cluster. So what all we saw? First we saw the definition, that is the definition, generic definition. Then we saw the application, three major application. Then we saw the technical definition of centroid, that is classifying your n objects into k different groups. All the objects inside one cluster should have same similarity, should be similar. This is an example. If we draw one line here, it will form two clusters. Similarly, you can form any number of cluster as you want based on the characteristics of this data and the business application. This is how you can represent a cluster with the help of centroid. The best example is city center. The practical example you can take is city center. Clustering techniques. So there are different clustering techniques available. So those clustering techniques are classified into top-down and bottom-up. So cluster analysis is a machine learning technique. We already know that. The quality of clustering, how you are clustering, the quality of clustering will depend on the algorithm you are using and the distance function. Which algorithm you are using to perform clustering and the distance function. So distance function means to find the distance from centroid to all other points. That is called as distance function. First, consider the distance function. For most cluster analysis methods use a distance measure to measure the closeness between pair of items. So that means if there is a centroid, so there will be plenty of data points. So in order to measure the distance between the centroid and many other points, we will use some distances. So two such distances are Euclidean distance and Manhattan distance. So Euclidean distance means square root. For example, if this point is x1, centroid is x2, it will be square root of x1 minus x2 whole square. Square root of x1 minus x2 whole square. So if the distance is minimum, then it belongs to this cluster. Suppose if you measure the distance between the centroid and this point, the distance will be maximum. So this point won't belong to this cluster. So that is what has been explained here. So most cluster analysis use a distance measure. So one measure is Euclidean distance, which you can use. The another one is Manhattan distance. In either case, the key objective is the intra-cluster distance should be maximized. Inter-cluster, the intra-cluster distance should be minimized. Suppose if you are forming a cluster here, if this is a cluster, the distance between centroid and all other points should be minimum. That is intra-cluster distance. That intra-cluster distance should be minimum. The distance between this centroid point and other cluster point, that should be maximum. That is inter-cluster distance. So whenever you are performing clustering, the intra-cluster distance should be minimum. Inter-cluster distance should be maximum. That is the main objective. Whichever the distance function you are choosing, you should always follow this objective. The inter-cluster distance should be maximum. The intra-cluster distance should be minimum. This is with respect to the distance function. When it comes to the algorithm, there are many algorithms. All those algorithms are classified into two categories. First one is called as top-down. Second one is called as bottom-up. So among those many algorithms, the first algorithm we can use is k-means clustering algorithm. So it is one of the most popular algorithm to perform clustering. It is a top-down approach. In k-means, beforehand only we will be deciding the number of clusters. How many number of clusters I need annadna modle decide martini. That is called as top-down. What do you mean by top-down approach? In top-down, how many number of clusters I need for the set of data points, that is decided in advance. Whereas in bottom-up, the number of clusters won't be decided in advance. As you keep processing, you will decide the number of clusters. So it is a top-down technique. Other techniques such as neural networks can also be used for clustering. Comparing clustering algorithm is a difficult as there is no single right number of clusters. You cannot compare your clustering algorithms because one clustering algorithm might give different number of clusters. Another clustering algorithm might give different number of clusters. So each works according to their working principle. So you cannot compare those algorithms. However, in which speed those algorithms work and also the data set. If you are having variety of data set, how efficiently that clustering algorithms works with respect to that data set. Based on that, you can decide the efficiency of algorithm. So when it comes to distance function, you can decide the efficiency of distance function based on inter-cluster distance and intra-cluster distance. When it comes to algorithm, you can decide how fast it can perform clustering and how efficiently it can deal with different data set. So here this is the general pseudocode you need to follow when you are performing clustering. So first one is you should you should pick an random number of groups, random number of clusters. Then I will randomly choose some centroid points. I will randomly choose some centroid points. Then I will classify the instance to closest centroid ಅಥವಾ closest group. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಎಷ್ಟು ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕು ಅಥವಾ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ನ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಆ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಏನಿರ್ತವೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಕ್ಲೋಸೆಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ ಗೆ ಅಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ದೆನ್ ಅಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೊಸ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ ನ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಪುನಃ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಒಂದ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ ಇಂದ ಒಂದ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ದೂರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಹತ್ರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So I will make the centroid in such a way all other points should be at same distance with respect to centroid. ಆ ತರ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ದೆನ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ರಿಪೀಟ್. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಪುನಃ ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ಸ್ 3 and 4 ನ. ನನಗೆ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಸಿಕ್ತು ಅದು ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರಿ ಆಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಗೋ ಟು ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ 1 ಅಂಡ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಪಿಕ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್. ಆಗ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಮೇಜರ್ 6 steps you need to follow for any clustering technique. Choosing the number of clusters, then choosing the centroid points, classifying the instance to centroid points, computing new centroid, repeating steps 3 and 4. If you are not satisfactory with the number of clusters, again go back to step 1, which is picking the number of clusters. So let us see some of the clustering examples, clustering exercise. So this is a given data set. For this, first we are going to see the bottom-up approach. So how we are going to perform clustering with bottom-up approach. In bottom-up approach, we won't be deciding the number of clusters in advance. So we will keep on forming the clusters as we progress. Whereas in top-down approach, what we will do, we will decide the number of clusters in advance. In advance, we'll choose market. So here now we will choose the bottom-up approach. So this is the data set. A scatter plot of 10 points, x and y in 2 dimensions shows them distributed fairly randomly. As you can see, these are the points 2, 6. So this is my x-axis, y and y-axis andre 2, 6, 4, 7. Idu y-axis allo points. So this I need to cluster. So what I will do, first I will choose a random centroid. I will choose a random centroid. Then what I will do, I will find the points which are closest to this centroid. So entire this thing is one cluster. So entire all the points will belong to one cluster. The points are distributed randomly such that it is considered as one cluster. The solid circle represents the centroid. This is my centroid or central point. Next, what I will do, as you can see, there is a big distance between this point 2, 6 and 8, 3. So if there is such a big distance, it cannot come inside one cluster. Now I will choose different centroid points. As you can see from this particular diagram, I have chosen one centroid point here and I have chosen one centroid point here. Now all these points belong to one cluster. All these points belong to this particular cluster. As you can see from this centroid, all these points are closest to this centroid. All these points are closest to this centroid. Now I will ask a question. Shall we stop at this point? The answer would be no, because still, as you can see, these points seems to be closer to each other. This point seems to be closer to each other. So for all these points, we can form one more cluster by choosing the centroid point here. So for all these 3 points, I can form one more cluster by choosing the centroid point here. The bigger cluster seems too far apart because 2, 4 is far away from 5, 7. Similarly, 2, 4 is far away from 6, 6. So this cluster can further be divided into two more clusters. So here I can form one more cluster. Here I can form one more cluster. So this is my final number of clusters. So this technique is called as bottom-up technique. So we started with one single cluster, then slowly we extended the number of clusters because 2, 6 were farther away from 8, 3. Therefore, we formed two clusters. There also 2, 4 were far away from 5, 7. 2, 4 was far away from 6, 7. Here we made two more clusters. Finally, we ended up with three clusters. This is called as bottom-up approach. The solution has three clusters. The cluster on the right is far from the other two clusters. However, the centroid is not so close to all data points. As you can see, this centroid is only close to the points inside the cluster. It is not close to the points outside the cluster. This is called as bottom-up exercise. Now we will move to K-means algorithm. As I had already explained, your K-means algorithm is one of the most popular algorithm for clustering. It uses top-down approach. So whenever you are using top-down approach for clustering, you are going to decide the number of clusters in advance. Modle number of clusters ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ decide ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. So given this set of points, we have already chosen the number of clusters, 3 clusters. Since you are choosing 3 clusters, you need 3 centroids. So as you can see, I have chosen 3 centroids. These are my 3 centroids. Now I will classify all the points which are closest to this centroid to one cluster, all the points which are closest to this centroid to one cluster, all the points which are closest to this centroid to one cluster. Let us see how we can do. For a distance point, data point, distance value will be from each of the 3 centroids. I will calculate the distance for each the point with respect to all the 3 centroids. So if the data point is closer to this centroid, I will classify this point to this cluster. The data points will be assigned to the cluster with the shortest distance to the centroid. All the points will thus be assigned to one data point. So one centroid ge ella data points assign agutte. As you can see here, these 3 points are assigned to this centroid. These 2 points are assigned to this centroid. These 4 points are assigned to this centroid because they are closest to this centroid. The centroid for each cluster will be recomputed. You should recompute because as you can see here, 2, 6 is closest to centroid, whereas 4, 7 is far away from this centroid. So I will push the centroid to this point such that the centroid is equidistant to all other points. Now we can see this centroid is equidistant to 2, 6, 2, 4 and 4, 7. So finally, I will be getting this graph. As you can see, this diagram. Now this centroid is equidistant to all these points. Similarly, this centroid is equidistant to all these points. This centroid is equidistant to all these points. So this will be my final clusters. I can say this will be my final clusters where I have got 3 clusters. Here, the intra-cluster distance is minimum. The inter-cluster distance is maximum. The new centroid will be calculated from the data points until the centroid stabilize. What do you mean by centroid stabilization? The centroid should not change their position. So finally, I got 3 clusters which are having minimum intra-distance and maximum inter-cluster distance. So you can give a pseudocode for implementing your K-means algorithm. So this is a generalized definition. This cluster definition are different from the ones derived visually because there we followed bottom-up approach. This is a function of random starting centroid values. There we choose the centroid point. As you can see in our first exercise, we choose one centroid point randomly such that it is equidistance and choose model. But ಇಲ್ಲಿ random ಆಗಿ 3 centroid point ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀನಿ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ K-means ಅಲ್ಲಿ random ಆಗಿ I have put 3 centroid points. Then I will recalculate my centroid point. That is the difference between K-means and generalized algorithm. The centroid points are used earlier were different from the ones chosen with K-means. The K-means clustering algorithm should therefore be run again with this data, but with new random centroid values. Till ನಾನು random ಆಗಿ centroid points ನ choose ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ I should again run my K-means algorithm, but this time this won't be the centroid points. I will choose some other centroid points. So it should, K-means is a repetitive action. You cannot stop with one iteration. With many runs, the cluster definition are likely to stabilize. After running with many different random centroid points, you will get clusters with the same number of clusters or same set of clusters. If the cluster definition do not stabilize, ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ನ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಾದ್ಮೇಲೂ ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ನೀವು ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಿರ 3 ಅಂತ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರಾಂಗ್ ಅಂತ. ದೆನ್ ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಚೂಸ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಸೂಡೋ ಕೋಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯುವರ್ ಕೆ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಗಾರಿದಮ್. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಚೂಸ್ ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಸ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್. Then you will repeat, you will allocate each point to the nearest of centroid. Then you will compute the centroid for the cluster using all points. Then you will repeat this. That means centroid point is recalculated. You won't stop once the points are allocated to the centroid point. You will keep on recalculating the centroid point. So this needs to be done for different random set of centroid point. So idna repeat ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಇರ್ತೀರಾ by choosing different random centroid points. ಎಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ ಸ್ಟೆಬಿಲೈಸ್ ಆಗೋವರೆಗೂ. ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ಲೂ ಸ್ಟೆಬಿಲೈಸ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಚೂಸ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಕೆ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಗಾರಿದಮ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಕೆ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಗಾರಿದಮ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಯುವರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೆ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಗಾರಿದಮ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಆಲ್ ವಿ ಕವರ್ಡ್ ದ ಜನರಿಕ್ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರಿಂಗ್ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ದೆನ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ನ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ದೇರ್ ವರ್ 3 ಮೈನ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್. ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಡ್ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್, ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲ್ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. n objects na k groups ke classify ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ explain ಮಾಡಿದೆ. as you can see, definition of technical definition of clustering ಹೇಳಿದೆ. next ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ how you can represent a cluster ಅದನ್ನ explain ಮಾಡಿದೆ with the help of centroid, city center. clustering techniques ಅಲ್ಲಿ distance function important. distance function ದು main objective ಏನು, inter cluster distance maximize ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, intra cluster distance minimize ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. algorithms ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಮೇಜರ್ ಆಗಿ ಟಾಪ್ ಡೌನ್ ಬಾಟಮ್ ಅಪ್ ಅಪ್ರೋಚ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ಎಫಿಷಿಯನ್ಸಿನ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಲ್ಗಾರಿದಮ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಎಫಿಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಡೇಟಾ ಸೆಟ್ ಜೊತೆ ಡೀಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಬಾಟಮ್ ಅಪ್ ಅಪ್ರೋಚ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಟಾಪ್ ಡೌನ್ ಅಪ್ರೋಚ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜನರಲ್ ಸೂಡೋ ಕೋಡ್ ಏನು ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಇದು ಜನರಲ್ ಸೂಡೋ ಕೋಡ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಬಾಟಮ್ ಅಪ್ ಅಪ್ರೋಚ್. ಬಾಟಮ್ ಅಪ್ ಅಪ್ರೋಚ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ಸ್ ನ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ನ ಮೊದಲೇ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರಲ್ಲ. ವೆರಾಸ್ ಟಾಪ್ ಡೌನ್ ಅಪ್ರೋಚ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ನ ಮೊದಲೇ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ 3 ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 1 ಸೆಂಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ನ ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಎಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ, ಅಂಟಿಲ್ ಯು ಫೈಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೆಬಿಲೈಸ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್. ಸ್ಟೆಬಿಲೈಸ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ ಸಿಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ 3 ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಸೂಡೋ ಕೋಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಯುವರ್ ಕೆ ಮೀನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ the main intention is how you need to choose the number of clusters. For that, you can follow this particular diagram. As you can see, this is the average within cluster, the sum of distance, the distance inside a cluster, the intra-cluster distance. As you keep increasing the number of clusters, the intra-cluster distance within cluster keeps decreasing. But once a threshold is reached, so 9 admale, even if you choose 10 cluster, the intra-cluster distance will remain the same. This method is called as elbow method. ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು elbow method ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೀವಿ. The correct value of k, that is number of clusters ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, it is not a easy task, it is a difficult task. So ನಿಮ್ದು ಡೇಟಾ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ ಅಥವಾ ತುಂಬಾ ಫಾರ್ ಅವೇ ಇದೆಯಾ, ಅದ್ರ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ. ಸೊ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ನಂಬರ್ ನ ಪಿಕ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ಗೆ ಯೂರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ನ ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಈ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ನ ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ನಾವು ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಇಂಟ್ರಾ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ. ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಇಂಟ್ರಾ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ 1.9 ಇತ್ತು. 2 ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಇಂಟ್ರಾ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ 0.8 ಆಯ್ತು. 3 ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಇಂಟ್ರಾ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ 0.6 ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಕೀಪ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್ ದ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್, ದ ಇಂಟ್ರಾ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್. After some point, it will stabilize. So you should choose a proper number of larger number of clusters to choose ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. So from this figure, we can see that the best is 5 number of clusters. With 5 number of clusters, you can obtain intra-cluster distance should be minimum enough. So these are the things you need to remember when choosing the right number of clusters. Elbow method. So the last topic with respect to clustering is advantages and disadvantages of k-means algorithm. So as we saw, it is simple and easy to understand. We will just choose the number of clusters, centroid points, then we will recalculate the centroid points. If the clusters won't stabilize, then you will choose different number of clusters. It is simple and easy to understand and implement. So the time taken for clustering using k-means, it increases linearly with data points. More the number of data points, more time is needed for clustering using k-means. So no other clustering algorithms works better than compared to your k-means. K-means is one of the most powerful clustering algorithm. There are few disadvantages also. You need to properly choose the initial number of clusters. K value when choose ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ. In our example, we choose 3 as the number of clusters. That needs to be properly chosen. Second point, the number of clusters you have chosen may not converge because clusters stabilize ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ you again need to go back and change the initial number of clusters. That is a disadvantage. It is not suitable for cluster shape. That means if the data points are not linear, if the data points are higher order polynomial, then your k-means won't work efficiently. These are some of the disadvantages. So this concludes your clustering. So what all we covered? Clustering andreno, grouping of data points based on similarity or patterns. It is called as clustering. Main 3 applications into clustering ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Technical definition ಹೇಳಿದೆ clustering na. How you can represent a cluster with the help of centroid. You need to give importance to the distance function you are using, and you need to give importance to the algorithms. There were 2 major algorithms, top down and bottom up. Bottom up ಅಲ್ಲಿ number of clusters ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ. As we keep solving the problems, we will decide the number of clusters. Top down cluster ಅಲ್ಲಿ k-means is one of the best algorithm for top down. Initially ನಾವು 3 number of clusters ಅಂತ choose ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Centroid points ನ random ಆಗಿ choose ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ. Number of clusters ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. Then you should choose different random points as centroid. You should keep repeating this procedure until the clusters stabilize. Clusters stabilize ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಹೋಗಿ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ನ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಪುನಃ k-means ನ ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಎಷ್ಟು ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಕೆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂನ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಬೋ ಕರ್ವ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಮೆಥಡ್ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಮೆಥಡ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡಿಸೈಡ್. ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ವಿ saw the disadvantages and advantages of k-means clustering. So just go through your entire presentation, watch with complete concentration, and make a gist of notes of what all the things are covered in clustering. So you should always watch the presentation in the order in which I am posting. That means first you should watch decision trees, then you should watch regression, then you should watch artificial neural networks. Lastly, you should watch this particular clustering. So in our next presentation, we shall cover the last chapter of module 4, which is association rule mining. That association rule mining is an important chapter from your exam point of view. You can expect one 8-mark question from association rule mining. So watch the entire presentation with complete concentration. If you get any doubts, you can ping me your doubts. Thank you.